Good morning. Oh, got a little hair up here on the camera. Okay. Uh, Gee, I just wrote a journal. I guess I didn't feel quite up to, excuse me, facing the camera, but it seems like I'm going to face the camera anyway. So, hi there. Um, I had a really odd thing happen this morning, and I'll read the journal to you as well, but it was very strange. Um, As I pulled the computer out of hibernation, it started playing an audio, well, a file, but there was no program on to be doing that. There was no player of any kind. I looked, believe me. And actually, it was playing the audio from a video file. Now, was the computer doing this? Or was I hallucinating? Uh, Gee, you know, I don't take substances, okay? So my hallucinations are all natural. So for whatever reason, there was that strangeness. Um, and I think a really neat journal came out of it. So I guess I'm just going to read it to you. Here we go. It's from Saturday, January 15th, 2011. Oh, and it's the first journal of the day, and it's got to be my favorite day of all time because it's both a 13, which is the ascension frequency or number, and it's the day of Jaguar, which is like a shaman thing, and it's maybe the sign I was born under. Then again, maybe not, since being born at 4:30 in the morning, you can take your pick between the previous sign or the next one. So, whatever. It's called Very Odd Happening, Making Room for the Strange. The journals, some of them anyway, are getting a little more strange of late. There are odd little synchronicities, have been all along, that become more apparent lately. It's interesting. What may be the most interesting one yet, though, happened to me privately this morning. As I was getting up and about, had my cup of coffee ready beside me, I turned the computer on, pulled it out of hibernation. So far, just normal, right? What happened next, though, was mighty strange. Even though I had no kind of player program open, I began hearing my voice through the speakers. It was the end of my most recent journal recording, a 1-minute clip. Now, how could that be, first of all? I promise you, there was no way that should have happened. It had not even been the last thing I was playing when I left off last night. Plus, it has not been uploaded yet, so it couldn't play through the browser. And that's if it was connected to the internet. It was not. So there's just no way. Spooky indeed. Well, I took it to be something higher self wanted to say to me, so I found the file with Explorer and played it again. Things that make you go, Just as an aside, you'll be able to hear the clip I'm talking about. It's the last minute or so of the next file that I'll upload today. You'll know which one. Very odd. Now, maybe there's a reasonable explanation. Maybe there's not. It doesn't matter to me. It's sufficiently strange to be notable. And mostly that's all higher self or source is trying to do, it seems to me, with such things, just to get our attention, pull it away from mind. That's all, just to make that link up. No big deal, just self communing with self. In my view, we should expect to be seeing more and more of such things as we go forward this year and onward. As the darkness is falling down around us everywhere, we are all rising up. We're doing this crazy, previously impossible thing. We're taking our bodies along with as we rise into higher state. What a trip. Are you game for it? If you are, then be glad to have the abnormal become the new normal for you right there in your life. Don't be so heavily questioning about such things. That's born of doubt and an over-skeptical mind. If you want to pick things apart, excuse me, have them make sense to the logical mind, well, good luck with that. I'm afraid, though, that just might move to invalidate your ticket for the big ride up ahead. It's not mind that needs to be in charge of your life going forward. Sure, mind can come along, but as whoever it was said it best, let mind never leave the lap of the heart. Let them conjoin. Let them be made one, with heart in the lead. That's the way. That's what is working in my life anyway, and I'm pleased, mighty pleased with the way or focus of being. Mind vision has nothing on heart vision, so let mind vision take the back seat. That is all. Not so hard. I know, at first it really does seem rather hard, or spooky, or bizarre. When mind is still in control, there in the driver's seat of your life, it does seem hard. Mind just doesn't want to let go. It is and has been in a position of great power over your life, probably just about ever since you can remember. That's the case. That's how we've been programmed to live. But as I've told you again and again through these journals, this is a new way of living entirely. Though everything on the surface of life will remain the same, will look the same, within you, everything will quite change. Your world will go topsy-turvy for a time. Who knows, maybe forever. I don't know. For me, I got sort of used to it. One adjusts to constant change as the norm, and to heart as the new home. I find it quite a beautiful way of being myself. I hope and trust you will too. You've got to fire the mind, though, from its position of power over your life. You've got to stand up, take back control of your life. You've been too passive, by far. It's time to quit that. Time to come out of hiding. Time to realize that mind is not you. Mind has just been acting for you as your agent in life. You've sent mind on ahead. You've taken the back seat. But under that contract, your freedoms are quite limited. They are limited by the mind. Well, you are so far and so much greater and richer than that. It's a shame in a way that we settled for this lousy contract, settled into this life based on beliefs, on thoughts, rather than be free to sample the whole world, the real world, that which truly is. It's a hard thing, though, to hear someone tell you that 98% or more of your beliefs are simply wrong. And it's not that 98% of somebody else's beliefs are right. It's just beliefs themselves that are wrong. It pulls the rug quite out from under you and your world. It turns everything upside down right away. That is, if you really hear, if you allow that to come in. Mind tries hard to keep it out, to not let it enter at all, or be held at arm's length and not really be considered seriously. Well, what did you expect? Mind is afraid. Can you see this? Can you see how, if you were mind and had been in this great position of power and control for all of these years, you might just object to being shoved aside in this way? Mind doesn't even want to consider that it could be wrong at all, much less that wrong. Surely you see this. I know you do. Now, Don't let mind rob you of your seeing here. Shove it aside. Take back control. This is truly your life, not the life of your mind. Consider, maybe it's time to take back ownership of your life from the mind. Maybe it's time to take a much closer look at how it operates. Time to get good at observing, at just quietly watching the operations of mind. It's very entertaining. I think if we look sharply at the world, we can see the results of letting mind run the ship, be in control. And it's a heck of a mess we've created there. Time to wake up from the dream. The dream that everything's just fine. If we just wait a little while, it'll fix itself up. Yeah, right. And most of us are right on time with this. We have been waking up, all right. The world has gotten so bad that it has roused us from our spiritual slumber. We're all sleepwalking, my friends, as long as we let mind run the show. We're not awake. We're not even really present in that case. Did you know that? Well, you can find out for yourself. You know the tune. Step down from the head and step into your heart. That is all that it takes. Well, that and some keen observation skills, you'll discover. You need those too. And it's a really different thing from what you are used to. Previously, when told to observe, that meant to put the mind on alert. Mind would observe. That is not what is meant here. Leave mind behind. This observation takes place in and from the heart. This is something else that seems to pull the rug right out from under you. You don't even know how to observe? How could that be? What kind of a crazy new world is this that you're getting into, you wonder? Well, that's legitimate. But if you look closely at that, you will see it's just mind speaking up. Do you see? It is mind, once again, that is the source of all fear. You may not yet fully realize that, but if you stay the course, then shortly you will. Only the mind can fear. Heart has absolutely not one iota of fear. It's just not possible there. When you observe from the level of mind, it's a flat playing field that you see. But when you observe from the level of heart, the whole entire cosmos will open up for you, to you. Heart is a portal into a magical kingdom that can't be entered by mind. That is what is throwing mind off. It is so used to being in control, it just refuses to take its dismissal well. You will have to be firm, and not just once, but over and over again. It's a training process. I can report, though, that at some point, who knows when, mind will subside. It will eventually take its dismissal in stride. It will settle down. It will quit kicking up so much dust in your face, quit refusing to cooperate, quit trying so very hard to distract you on every occasion when you move toward heart. That's the good news in the midst of what appears to be chaos. You'll have to stand firm, though. Mind keeps it appearing as chaos, but then eventually, if you are determined and firm, mind gives up, settles in, settles down. It is things like what happened with me this morning that test the mind most. Mind wants to veto what happened. It wants to go over and over all of the little details, quite sure it must have missed something, for to mind, such a thing simply cannot happen. Not at all. An untrained mind wouldn't rest over this. It would keep going and going. To me, though, to one who doesn't care and for whom mind isn't in control, it's no big deal. Heck, maybe the file didn't play at all. Maybe it was a time shift, or maybe it was just an auditory hallucination. Maybe it was who knows what. It just doesn't matter. I heard what I heard, so I just pay it closer attention. That is all. No big deal. The extraordinary will become more and more ordinary for us if we let it. I guess that's the message here. We must first allow, perhaps, for such things to be experienced at all. We've got to let go the stranglehold we have on life. That stranglehold is the mind's. That's not us. We've let the mind get too much control. This is not a mind world we're ascending into. It's a world made of heart, and in heart lies the answers, the understanding we seek. Yet, there's a hitch with that, and it's this. Mind wants to think it knows something of what these answers, what this understanding would be like. Well, it doesn't. Not one bit. We've really got to let go of mind. Abandon all expectations. For starters, that's a full dish, a delightful challenge to take on. No more expectations about what life is supposed to be like, what anything is supposed to be like. Let it go. Time to move on. Can you do it? Are you up for it? Are you sufficiently adventurous? You bet you are, for the most part. Some won't choose to make the grade or to come along, and that's fine too. It's a matter of choice. There is no forcing at all that will be done to you. No spiritual arm twisting will take place. Things are just laid out for you. All the choosing is your own. Alex Collier, in his 1996 lecture at the ranch, said that, per the Andromedans, only about 400 million of us would likely be taking the trip into upliftment or ascension. Well, that's what was likely. That's what was projected back then, in 1996. We've turned some major corners since then, though. The way I see it now is that we're in the billions, not just 100 millions that will be going along. We've had major cycle after major cycle turn, and they're not done yet. And then we've done some changing of our own. At the turn of the century, we made one of the biggest changes, turned one of the biggest corners yet. It will be interesting from the other side to see just what happened there. It is clear, though, that things lightened considerably. Many prophecies of disaster just didn't occur. The looks of things before and after that point, well, it looks almost like two different worlds, two different destinies, certainly. There's much more hope now and much more crashing down of that which is dark. We turned a corner, and that is clear. Then, there was the major eviction of a whole lot of ET life from the planet and the solar system that occurred in or around 2003. That too made a big change. There was another lightening of the atmosphere around here. We're much less messed with in the days since that time. The radical and violent abductions aren't taking place so much. Now, for whatever reasons, these things we just can't see from our 3 or 4D perspective yet. Yet frequencies and vibrations keep rising higher and higher, which means things are getting lighter and lighter around here. And that's making things easier for us, my friends, easier to rise in frequency ourselves. I would add the new color and frequency that have been emanating from the black holes since 1994 in March, but that had happened before Alex made his 400 million person comment. So that was already considered in the mix. I still say things have adjusted mightily since then. And that's my take. So just consider this. If you want to go, then you can. You won't be taken along passively, though. You've got some work to do. You've got to work through the crap you're carrying around there in your energy field, which includes the subconscious and the unconscious. That must be addressed. It is being addressed already. Things are happening in your life that are bringing these things up for you so you can get a look at what's there. Maybe decide if you want to hang on to whatever it is or let go. That's usually the choice. We've got to accept and work with this process, though. We've got to cooperate. It won't force us. Source is gentle overall. So just be willing to look at things, my friends, when they come up. Don't be so quick to medicate, to abdicate, to distract, or run away from them. See if you can make some space just to sit quietly with whatever it is. Just let it talk. Let it say its piece. That's all it's been trying to do all of this time, over all of these years. It'll go away if you just let it talk. Things just keep getting worse and worse for us because we simply won't listen, it seems, any other way. Higher self moves in harsher ways to force our attention onto something, but we often just run away. We won't cooperate. So the ante goes up. Remember, Source will use a feather if we are sensitive to the feather. The 2x4 is reserved for harder cases, but that is always still our own choice. It is our higher self bringing these things about. We bring that on ourselves. You'll be amazed the day you really see this. You'll laugh so hard, you'll cry. You'll bust a gut. I've got gooseblesh just writing this now. This realization is available to all brave enough to take this ride into heart, out of the head way of living. That's no good anymore. Give it up. You're in charge. Take control. Good day. Good life. I'll read the journal to you as well, but it was very strange. As I pulled the computer out of hibernation, it started playing an audio, well, a file, but there was no program on to be doing that. There was no player of any kind. I looked, believe me. And actually, it was playing the audio from a video file. Now, February 15th, 2011. Oh, and it's the first journal of the day, and it's got to be my favorite day of all time because it's both a 13, which is the ascension frequency or number, and it's the day of Jaguar or Jaguar, which is like a shaman thing, and it's maybe the sign I was born under. Then again, maybe not, since being born at 4:30 in the morning. You can take your pick between the previous sign or the next one, so whatever. It's called Very Odd Happening, Making Room for the Strange. The journals, some of them anyway, are getting a little more strange of late. There are odd little synchronicities, have been all along, that become more apparent lately. It's interesting. What may be the most interesting one yet, though, happened to me. Was the computer doing this? Or was I hallucinating? Gee, you know, I don't take substances, okay? So my hallucinations are all natural. So for whatever reason, there was that strangeness. And I think a really neat journal came out of it. So I guess I'm just going to read it to you. Here we go. It's from Saturday, January. Good morning. Oh, got a little hair up here on the camera. Okay. Gee, I just wrote a journal. I guess I didn't feel quite up to, excuse me, facing the camera, but it seems like I'm going to face the camera anyway, so hi there. Um, I had a really odd thing happen this morning. And